Bye.
That's Damien there from Wigan and Patrick from Anfield now. Hello, Patrick.
Hi, Roger. I spoke to you before, Roger. How you doing?
I'm fine, yeah. This is about Anfield, isn't it? Anfield restoration or non-regeneration.
Yeah. Well, basically, last Sunday we had a protest here, which unfortunately we've had difficulty getting a report in Liverpool by Merseyside and the Echo. But Granada Reports did...
Nobody told us about it, to be quite honest.
Well, that's contrary to the reports of the Residents Association. They did a press release prior to it.
Well, it didn't come our way, and we checked. We had no press release from anybody.
Well, we can discuss that later. It's been hard enough to get on since as well, Roger.
Well, there's been one or two other things going on in the world, you might have noticed.
We know that. There was the Bin Laden one, but we had 6 or 7 members tell us yesterday. You got an email today from Billy Stevens, the Residents Association, confirming that. Anyway, we're on now, Roger. Thank you very much. We're on now anyway.
Confirming what?
Confirming that we were trying to get on to your talk show yesterday to tell you about the match. This was a historic match.
There was one call yesterday we had, but it was felt by the producer yesterday that there was so much on Granada we wouldn't use that one call. There was only one call, and it was from you.
The march was a historic protest, actually, because this actually was the residents of Anfield standing up to be counted to try and get attention for their plight of dereliction and their lack of protection from the authorities and everything else. Pretty important occasion, I would have thought. Granada thought so anyway, Roger.
Yes, I've seen the Granada report.
Oh, you've seen the report, have you, Roger? Yeah. What did you think, Roger?
I thought it was a nice little report, 2 minutes. It wasn't exactly a massive demonstration, but it was making its point.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, it's been going on for so long, I think it must be pretty despairing there. I mean, I first not reported on it, well, I did report on it, must be 10 years ago, no, 5 years ago, something like that. It's just a mess. There's no issue about it.
Yeah, but you see, Roger, I mean, the reason it's gone on so long and that people are becoming sort of oblivious to it is that the Anfield residents don't get a very good press.
Do they not?
Well, you're more press expert than me, I'm sure you know. But I mean, in Liverpool, it's a pretty small town. You've got Radio City, Radio Merseyside, and the Echo.
Mm-hmm.
So the Radio City, I wouldn't even try to pretend that their business relationship wouldn't be hugely important to them, the relationship they have with the club.
So you're alleging they wouldn't report anything bad about Anfield because of the club?
I'm alleging that they're heavily influenced by the LFC the spin department, of course.
Well, if you talk about the press office, we get stuff from the press office as well. We're not heavily influenced by it. We just get what they send us. In the same way, if you sent us an email, which you didn't, and we sent this press release from the group, we would have been influenced by that. We would report on it.
So, yeah, but I'm talking about the 3 medias in Liverpool. I'm talking about Radio City, the Echo, and Merseyside. We could leave Merseyside till last if you want, but Radio City, I mean, it's not the man on the street knows that Radio City is a commercial station whose commercial interest relationship with LFC is hugely important.
Well, it may be important, but I mean, it won't influence their reporting in news.
It certainly does.
I've worked there, and I can tell you it doesn't.
Well,
nobody comes and says, "Oh, you can't report that story because we have got a contract with."
How come so that I have a written record here of contacting the Echo and City prior to the match, and it wasn't covered.
Lots and lots of people contact us. You've no idea. I get about 200, and I'm just one. I get about 200, 250 emails every day. Now, a lot of that is people wanting to get publicity for this, that, or the other. We couldn't possibly cover everything that comes our way.
But you've just said yourself that this is a long-term problem. It's going on for more than 10 years.
Yes, and we have reported on it, and we will report on it.
There's people up here, Roger, up here living next door to copper derelict houses for years upon years upon years. For these people, a long weekend is too long, not to mind 10 years of it, you know. We deserve coverage. It's a very, very big serious issue.
You do get coverage.
We do not get coverage.
Well, all I can talk about is us, and we cover it. We've covered it, to my knowledge, at least I would have 5 or 6 times a year over the past 5 years.
Yeah, but you see, Roger, one of the main things I found there was the last time I spoke to you, and I've had a meeting with McCord since about this.
So I understand.
I mean, what Mr. Ord said and what you said was that on that particular day there was an announcement by the Regeneration Group, and you knew that you would be discussing the Anfield situation that day.
I'm sorry, I don't know which day he's referring to.
I'm talking about St. Patrick's Day, the only day that I was ever on the radio with you.
And I knew...
The 17th of March.
We knew that you were going to be discussing regeneration.
No, please don't trivialise me, Roger.
Well, I'm asking you, I just don't remember.
He knew that he would be discussing the Anfield neighbourhood that day.
Why? Why will we be discussing that?
Because there was an item in the morning news, and Mr. Ord agreed with me, that you knew you would be discussing it that day.
So we did report it then? Is that what you're saying? We reported it that morning?
Well, what the point I'm getting to is that the major players involved here are the residents, the council, and the big corporate player. And Mr. Ord told me that he invited in the corporate player and he invited in the council that day to join in the discussion, but that they didn't send someone along. And what I think would be hugely important for transparency purposes would be that if a time comes when you're discussing the situation and if you invite in the council or the club to send in a representative, I think it's important to tell the listeners that you invited the people in.
We do. We always do.
And that they had time to do so. That did not happen that day. It happens on Jeremy Paxman. It happens in other shows.
Well, it certainly happened at lunchtime because I remember getting that. I got that statement from. I hadn't heard the morning show, but I got that statement that had been sent to the morning show, and it made it very clear it was a statement.
Oh, well, what happens is that the club, for example, would prefer not to send in one of their PR men. What they prefer to do is send you in a sheet of PR stuff.
A lot of organisations do that. We have a lot of trouble with ASCO, we have a lot of trouble with all kinds of organisations who don't want, and for good reason, they don't want to put anybody up, they want statements.
But Liverpool Football Club consistently do it. They don't talk to the neighbours.
They all consistently do it. We have a lot of trouble getting people to do interviews, not just
I'm not talking about the other people, I'm talking about Liverpool Football Club and Liverpool Council concerning Anfield, Roger.
And we didn't get a statement from the council, or did we? I can't remember. Yes, I think I did have a statement.
Well, you certainly got a beautiful one from the club, which was a lot better from their point of view to have you reading out that to balance the story.
No,
rather than
I made it absolutely clear that this is what the club was saying. It was not what I was saying, it was what the club was saying.
I know
people aren't stupid out there.
I know you did, Roger. You made it clear that it was the club statement, but what I'm saying to you is, isn't it about time that the people in the club came into the studio
I agree with you.
and spoke to the people?
We would love to do that. We'd love to have a debate.
Yeah, but what I'm telling you, Roger, is that the average man on the street up here in Anfield doesn't realise that you're asking the club to come into these discussions and that they keep the timing.
Well,
you need to make that more clear that you're requesting them to do so.
We cannot. Well, we haven't done recently. We did then, I think, that day. But when you ring in, we're not going to get the club on. I can tell you that because it comes out of the blue. A call will come in, or from you, from anybody in that area.
That wasn't out of the blue, Roger.
But when we do the issue, when we look at the issue,
your boss, Mr. Ord, said that it was reasonably predictable that you would be discussing the Anfield neighbourhood that issue that day. Now, the people of Anfield deserve.
But they got what
an
they
intelligent
wanted.
discussion. They didn't. They got you reading out spin from Liverpool Football Club.
We cannot help the fact that look, you rang in out of the blue. I didn't know it was coming. Your call. It had been dealt with in the morning. All I can do in that situation is pick up the press release that came in and deal with it that way. I wasn't putting forward as my view. It was quite clearly Liverpool Football Club's view.
Why don't
we can't force them to come in, you know.
That's fair enough. I know you can't handcuff them and get them in because it's to their advantage not to come in because they prefer to have fellas all over the city ringing up on their behalf otherwise. But the thing about it is that why not facilitate on behalf of the people of Anfield? Why can't you organise to have a scheduled discussion where you invite them in, invite the council in, invite a spokesman from our residents association?
We don't do things on behalf of anybody.
You read out the spin on behalf of Liverpool Football Club,
because you were making allegations about Liverpool Football Club, and I was responding with their spin. But you did that as an unsolicited call. We didn't know it was coming.
The only specific allegation I made was that they own 10 houses in Loader Road, and I went down to Radio Merseyside and I handed the letter signed by the club. I handed it to you and Mr. Ward. That's the only allegation, and you never corrected that information for the listener subsequently, Roger.
That they own 10 houses in Loader Road. I mean, the issue is much bigger than that. The issue is much bigger than 10.
There's a man living in Loader Road. He's 85 years of age. He's a fifth-generation Anfield man. He's from the place where where the club was founded. Now, that's the biggest issue for that man. Is that somebody would kindly explain to him how a corporation is allowed to have more than 10 houses derelict for more than 15 years and not be called to task by Liverpool City Council and to be allowed to do so and to get no attention from the likes of Merseyside Radio, Radio City or the Echo, there is no bigger issue in that man's mind, Roger.
No, I absolutely agree, but everybody has a particular issue in their mind which is very, very important to them. All I would say is that we don't do things on behalf of anybody. We do report stories. But there is a story here, we have reported it, and we will report it.
You allowed yourself to be played by them because you accepted their sheet.
You did. You rang in out of the blue. What am I meant to do? I'm going to say, oh, Patrick, you're absolutely right. Oh, they're a dreadful lot, that lot. I get their side of the story, and I put their side of the story. That's the only way to properly balance it. This isn't for you to actually make allegations or whatever against them. I'll just put against you whatever they say. And people then make their own decision about what, the outcome is.
The question remains, why won't they come into the studio and talk to the people?
Ask them.
Okay, Roger, well, I'm asking them today, and thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for helping me highlight the fact that there was a match last Sunday in Anfield. It was to highlight the situation prior to the game. It did take place because it was reported by Granada on the 6 o'clock news, and it was taken seriously because Mr. Cotton got the team bus to come 1 hour earlier than scheduled. But I can tell you, Roger, it's a hard job trying to get the message out there.
All right, but you're getting it across.
Well, I'm doing my best, Roger.
I'm working hard at it. Okay, Patrick.
Thank you, Roger. Bye-bye now.
That's Patrick there from Anfield, and it's now 17 minutes to 2.